PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Lead designer and director Brandon Greene is leaving the development trenches to lead a new division within developer-publisher Pine Corp. Greene spent the past 5 years honing the Battle Royale concept, initially creating modes for other titles like Days and Armageddon, before creating and launching PUBG with the help of South Korean studio Bluehole. In an open letter posted on Twitter, the designer said he will be taking charge of Pine Corp's new Special Projects division, and will no longer be involved in the day-to-day development of PUBG, while I will remain as a consulting creative director on PUBG. Development will be led by current art director Taeseok Jang and the fantastic team I have had the honor of working with over the past 3 years. They have some great things planned for this year, and I cannot wait to share more with you soon. Here, going forward, I will be based in Amsterdam rather than Seoul, and focused on building out an entirely new division to focus on research and game development. Greene explained Special Projects will be driven by a desire to build online experiences and spaces that connect people in ways I only dreamed of when I first sat in front of a computer. We are tasked with exploring, experimenting, and creating new technologies, tools, pipelines, and gameplay, he added. Together with a team of game developers and researchers, we will explore new possibilities of intersection and connection within the game space. The death of Flash is greatly exaggerated and at the same time, not really a bad thing. This is what Flash developer Brad Bourne had to say regarding the medium, especially after Adobe's recent decision to end Shockwave support and push developers to win themselves from Flash and onto newer tech for their browser-based games. Bourne is best known for making the free side-scrolling browser game Fancy Pants Adventures, in addition to a host of other Flash games. As he describes in the YouTube video above, he believes that Flash is largely misunderstood. First off, I do not think Flash ever got its due, even when it was at its prime. Here begins. The accessibility of Flash games made the medium special. All one needed was a reliable internet connection. Flash never gets the credit it deserves for how many people it can reach. I remember the first time when a page was bragging that HTML5 could play a sound, and so that brings me to of course. Why was Flash so disrespected? Bourne argues that Flash became synonymous with terrible advertisements and holding back YouTube once the platform started transitioning toward high-def digital. Flash should have never been used for either of those things. Bourne continues. It was always terrible at that. Flash only worked when it was the one thing you wanted to do because it sacrificed efficiency for a format that more artistically minded people were able to utilize. He goes on to say that clicking to enable Flash seems like the best compromise, and could let Flash exist even when HTML5 takes over. He blames the Flash is dead joke as the reason behind his so-called rant. I say the reports of Flash deaths are greatly exaggerated, because Flash is not just a Flash player, it's not just the delivery mechanism. Bourne explains, we need to divorce Flash player from the actual tools. And according to Bourne, that's what Adobe is doing through Adobe Animate. Adobe's been pushing the animation and drawing tools to be way better than they ever will with Flash. Be sure to watch Bourne's entire video, where he continues to discuss Flash and how it affects his development work. Video game development teams have always been known for being multidisciplinary, conformed by people from different departments. Learning to communicate and understand each other is a continuous work in progress. However, There might be external collaborators who are not always around, and communicating with them is even more complicated. Such is the tale of musicians versus developers. In our studio, we do not have any kind of sound designer, nor composer, so when we are developing a project, we have to rely on a professional studio. Just like we did on Mucho Talko, where we found allies with Soundscape Studio. The musical composition of a game differs with that of any other piece of media, and it is wise to keep in mind the following considerations. All these considerations were shared with Soundscape when we showed them the project and the art we had of it. They also played the demo version of the game. We shared some music tracks from different media, TV shows, movies, games, that we thought could serve as inspiration. Using that information as a reference, the Soundscape team built different inspirational pieces to find the core concept for what would later become the main theme for the game. Here's one of them. You can listen to the tracks on the link at the bottom. Once both our teams settled on a melody, we'd explain to the musicians how the tracks had to be exported. Communication between the programmer and the musician was going to be an arduous task. So I realized we would most definitely need a diagram to visually represent the game flow and the exact moment where each track should be played. I started to build my own nomenclature so programmers and musicians could understand each other, and the result, after some iterations, was this. Complementary information for music frames displays the intro and outro behaviors of a track frame, a theme frame. For example, this is the music diagram for Mucho Talko as main theme, a theme frame that loops indefinitely, which is composed of another theme frame and a track frame, idle song, flutes song, normal song. You can listen to the tracks on the link at the bottom. The track order is as follows. Flutes song, normal song, flutes, song, normal song, idle song, idle song. For our game, Mucho Talko, we designed several events which changed the BG music. One of such events is the player-activated Fiesta. When it happens, the current track must stop and the Fiesta song will be played instead, which is a track with a well-defined beginning and ending with a fixed duration. Fiesta song. You can listen to the tracks on the link at the bottom. Another BG music disruptive event is called Machinasculate, which is triggered automatically. This event does not have a fixed duration and the player can stay on that event an indefinite amount of time, so it must have a track that is able to loop. To ease in the loopable portion of the track, we decided to add an intro track that leads to it. Machinasculate intro, Machinasculate song. You can listen to the tracks on the link at the bottom. Indicates the beginning of the diagram. In our case, a mobile game means the player can open and close the game anytime, so any re-entry points must be highlighted on the diagram depending on the player's progress. Finally, we incorporated the game tutorials, which led the final diagram to look like this. A simple diagram that efficiently shows the musicians how the tracks should be prepared. Thank you for reading. Hope you find this information useful in your game making. If you enjoyed this post and want to track the music diagram working in our game, Mucho Talko, click this link and have a great pound. Indeed, www.muchotalko.mx. Download the editable file and listen to the tracks here. In this DD 2018 talk, Sharkbone Studios, Martin Nero shows developers how to effectively showcase their game without a booth, no matter what conference they are at. Naraka also goes over how devs can prepare themselves to make the most of their time on site. as well as discussing what sort of games work well in a showy environment, how to find and talk to an audience, and what kind of moods to bring. It was an insightful talk that's definitely still worth watching. So developers should not miss the opportunity to do so now that it's freely available on the official GD YouTube channel. In addition to this presentation, THEGDC Vault and its accompanying YouTube channel offers numerous other free videos, audio recordings, and slides from many of the recent game developers conference events. And the service offers even more members-only content for DD Vault subscribers. Those who purchased all-access passes to recent events, like DD Vault, already have full access to DD Vault, and interested parties can apply for the individual subscription via DD Vault subscription page. Group subscriptions are also available. Game-related schools and development studios who sign up for DD Vault Studio subscriptions can receive access for their entire office or company by contacting staff via THEGDC Vault Group subscription page. Finally, current subscribers with access issues can contact DD Vault technical support. Gamasutra and DD are sibling organizations under parent company Informa by Winifred Phillips. Contact